Anand, as your board has become more diverse, you have gone from 1 to 3 women, you've gone from age group has gone from up to quite young. How has that impacted your management team? And how does the business feel different because of the different board?
I don't think they're responding to a demographic change. It's not as if, oh, now there's something different because there's a younger board, or now that there's some change in how we operate or how we are led simply because there are more women on the board. Each of these people are individuals. Frankly, if you don't believe that, you don't really have a chance at diversity. If you keep thinking women are different, that's where the problem arises. So I again try to resist saying that they're thinking differently because we have now women on the board and because we have younger people. I think they respond to individuals. How are they going to grill me about what? So I think it's just the quality of the people going up which has changed the operations, not whether the person was in a wheelchair or the person is wearing a sari or wearing a double-breasted suit. I don't think matters. It's really the people, again, who matter and will change how the company is led.
And just on that, how do you get the people? Because you have such a large organization and not everybody grew up in a home like yours. So, how do you get across the organization people to feel that, that women can do this or disabled person can do that? Because sometimes those influences or beliefs are so deep rooted, they're not even aware that they have a bias.
Oh, biases are everywhere, and you're absolutely right. And so there's only one aha moment I had about this, because you're right. No matter what you do, whatever policies you enunciate, no matter how good the board is, those biases are very deep rooted. It comes back to empowerment. What I found was that, let me give you a real example. Our real estate business, for example. Um, Before we appointed a woman CEO, the standard refrain in our group executive board was, of course, we want to get more women to our companies. But where are they? And who's right? And do we want to just become like the Indian government and have quotas which don't work? So then it becomes a very heated debate. You know what that debate is like. And so the question is that you have to make the change. You have to put people at the helm. You have to put, if you really want to transform and change a biased attitude, you have to act. You have to put somebody at the helm, not just populate them on the shop floor and say, look how many women I've got, or Tech Mahindra has, 40% women, which is fine. We still fail in Tech Mahindra because how many of those women are leaders? And I've always been a believer in affirmative action. I know that there are people, very sound positions on either side. But I was in college in America when a lot of the debate about busing was going on, forced busing. And it was a very difficult moral question. But if you look back and see what the blacks went through in America, if you look at what the untouchables went through here, if you look what centuries of discrimination women have suffered, you have to give them a leg up. You can have diversity, you can tick the box with that. You can get people to dance at the party, that's about inclusion. Equity, you can again say it on a paper. But the fact is, you have to empower people. If you don't have a culture of empowerment, you won't get any of this to be a success.
But no, I'm fascinating also. I'm listening to you. But would you not agree that in many companies that accept the principle of diversity and will presume that their leadership is not biased because they're, evolved, there is an unintended prejudice against change, and that unintended prejudice against diversity, and that unintended prejudice manifests itself in the way that they, for instance, set up a selection panel for promotion, and then of course you have to conversation about the quality of your leadership, and that's another very important, the quality of your top leader. You need to be able to sit and converse about human issues, because in today's world or tomorrow's world, you just don't want someone who just come out of business school and has a very solid understanding of how to run a business if it's defined in quantitative metrical terms. You want somebody who has the bandwidth, the intellectual bandwidth to cope with the uncertainties of the future. So those are the conversations you want to have. If you can't have them, you're really, you feel dissatisfied. And that's the difference between the company that has really managed to create a diverse board and a company that talks of diversity as a tick in the box sort of. But there's a connect between what both of you have just said, and I've often used this. Companies that that do not make a profit cannot afford purpose. But companies that do not have a purpose or principles do not deserve profits. Yeah? So you could see that connect. And that actually probably is going to be the basis on. There is no trade-off here. Okay, let's be clear. Principles and profits, you do not see them as one
Either
or the
or.
other.
Right? A little bit like diversity and meritocracy. That's actually not a trade-off.
There's not a trade-off. There's a positive correlation, and you've seen enough data to suggest that, to establish that.